What is going on, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen? The ACMJS Gamer here. Today we're here to talk about Assassin's Creed Hexe and why I think it's not gonna work. To start off, Assassin's Creed has a very special place in my heart, always has, ever since I played Assassin's Creed 2 back on the 360. Despite this, we've had quite a few entries, and like many of you, I have a never ending list of issues with the franchise. That being said, some fans tend to flock to the RPG games like Odyssey, Valhalla, and Shadows, and I can tell you right now that the way Hexe is looking, those fans are probably gonna like it. Rumors have suggested that there are spell casting mechanics in the game, which is already a red flag. Not to mention that our single player female protagonist is going to be a witch. I do commend Ubisoft for sticking to a single perspective narrative this time. Um, but the tagline for the other games, Odyssey was play like a mercenary, Valhalla was play like a Viking, and Shadows was play like a samurai. This one is going to be play like a witch instead of what it should be, which is playing as an assassin. So the question we have now is how are they going to take this tagline and how are they going to match it to an Assassin's Creed-esque story? Um, well, they're going to more than likely end up using a piece of Isu technology to justify the main character's supernatural abilities, if you will, which makes sense. But it's like, really, we already know what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. Can't you do something a little bit different this time, Ubisoft? Um, Keep in mind, Hexe is coming from the team behind Origins and Black Flag and Valhalla, and supposedly they're trying to address the complaints of those games being too big, too bloated, and unfocused. And we kind of had that a little bit in Mirage, where there wasn't that much of a focus on the RPG elements. The map was a lot smaller, and it was very much more linear. And I do appreciate their attempt, to go back to the roots with more of the stealth aspect. But I mean, it was a decent story, but the open combat wasn't that great, and the stealth was, I mean, the best part of the game. And it's just a small game that I think went unnoticed because it wasn't as big as the other games, and it feels more like a DLC, which is what it was originally supposed to be. So while I do appreciate Mirage, it didn't make that big enough of a splash to be considered, going back to the roots. Especially when we had Shadows, the next game, come out that basically did the reverse opposite and did everything bad that a game can do in terms of awful storytelling, awful open world mechanics, awful gameplay, terrible uh, dual narrative. It just a lot of stuff doesn't make sense with these games. So to me, this will be very interesting because this game is essentially everything I am against. While they may take out the RPG elements, while they may have a good story and they might have some good gameplay, we do have some insight as to what that gameplay is going to be. So let me pull up this article by is it Todd? Tom Henderson, sorry, not Todd. And they say this is from a demo that they were given but they couldn't film. This was back in 24, and they say, quote, Hexe is understood to be a more linear experience compared to its predecessors, with some elements of open world exploration, somewhat akin to some of the earlier AC games. As already reported by Insider Gaming, Hexe is poised to have a single female protagonist currently named Elsa, who has some supernatural abilities. Why does any Assassin's Creed protagonist have to have supernatural abilities? That is one of the issues that we have. Also, we don't know if there's going to be any tie-in to the modern day. That was a big issue for me with Shadows, was I completely felt like I wasted my time for nothing. Because if they're going to keep doing the modern day, they're going to keep people coming back to play to see what it is. But what they delivered in Shadows was not worth the money, and it was not worth the time spent in-game at all. Continue on with what Henderson saw, he said, quote, in the footage, Elsa is seemingly being hunted, by 16th century German soldiers, um, and uses spells to possess a nearby cat. That is already a red flag. The player then controls the cat and uses it to distract the soldiers by knocking over a glass bottle, which smashes on the ground and diverts the soldiers' attention. I don't know about you, but that does not sound like an Assassin's Creed game. I understand they're trying to change things up, but this is not the right direction. I don't think it's the right direction, in my opinion. I have not played the game, so that's a fair criticism of you to me, saying, oh, well, how do you know if you like the game or not? You haven't played it. That's fair, but based on what I'm seeing so far, I do not like this idea. Apparently, Hexe is the longest game they've ever, or longest AC game they've had in production for a while. Um, and I don't really know anything except I don't really like this feeling. I had a very similar feeling to Ghost of Yotei um, when we when they showed it off, and I was like, this feels just like Shadows, and I was right, and I didn't really like Shadows either, and I ended up not liking Yotei either. Um, the most interesting prospect about this is that it's set in the uh, German 16th century Holy Roman Empire kind of thing. Um, that's really the most exciting aspect. As any Assassin's Creed game, the setting should be interesting, but I'm not going to play a game just for the setting. I'm going to play it for the narrative and for the gameplay. And if the narrative is you are an assassin, but you're also a witch, and the gameplay is going to have spell casting mechanics, I'm good. I'm out. I'm not going to waste any more of my money. I'm not going to waste any more of my time. Thankfully, there are a handful of games that are coming out this year, GTA 6 being one of them. I more than likely won't stream it, but I will do updates on it. Um, Crimson Desert, I'm planning to stream and or record, which comes out in March. I'm very excited for that. And Replaced is also supposed to come out in the beginning of March. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching, listening, and hearing. And I'll see you guys on the next thing, whether it's Assassin's Creed or 007. 007 First Light also got pushed back. Um, and that I do plan to record and or stream. But until next time, I'll see you guys later.